What's going on, guys? So today we're going to be going over a quick little tapping thing for the bass. It's just a quick little arpeggio lesson. It's not going to be too complicated, but there's going to be tabs at the end, and I'll play it fast and slow, and we'll just kind of go from there. So anyway, hope you guys like this, and let's go. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to tune the instrument, right? So we have everything on the 6-string bass, but tuned down a full step. So we have an A down here instead of a B. That's a D instead of an E. G, C, it's actually an E, and then A. Sometimes that's tuned to an F. We really don't care about that for this video. We're just going to be focusing pretty much on kind of like those areas. So anyway, so we're going to be using 2 hands today. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to kind of identify which strings that we want to be hitting and which frets, right? So we're going to be hitting our 5th string here. This would just be our D string, the lowest string on a 4th string, or the 4th, whatever. Anyway, 4th string right there. So after that, what we're going to be doing is hammering on, starting with our middle finger. We're going to start at the 7th fret of that D string. Okay, so we just want to hammer on, and from nowhere, just hit it really, really hard. No plucking with the right hand. Okay, just kind of like that. And what I'm doing with the rest of my fingers is I'm kind of muting the rest of the strings there so they're not ringing out too much, because otherwise you get kind of a lot of background noise. Yeah, anyway. So we're going to go from there. We're going to hammer on to 5, the next string up. So we can do this with that hammer on from nowhere with our middle finger or a ring finger. It doesn't really matter, depending on spacing or strength. But anyway, so a lot of people will recognize the shape. It's kind of like an upside down power chord, right? It's a dyad. It's just a minor third interval, right? So we have our root right here at the 7th fret, which would just be an A. Then we have our 3rd on the 5th fret, which would be a C. And then from there, this is where the right hand comes in. So if you're playing with a pick, this is where you'll have to use your middle finger instead of your index finger. But if you're just playing with your fingers, then you can just use your pointer, right? So we're going to hammer on from nowhere on the 7, and then the 5 on the next string, right? And then on that same string, we're going to go up to the 9th fret with that index finger, right? And then taking our middle finger, we're going to hammer on to the next string down on the 9th fret. Right? So in all, we have okay. Pretty cool. So from there, we're just going to practice playing it backwards. Okay. Right, and now we'll hammer on with this finger, and then hammer on with the index finger on the 9th fret again, right? And then we're just going to pull off to the 5th, and then we'll hammer on again to the 7th, right there. So this is just an A minor chord, okay? Or an A minor arpeggio, rather. Okay, so I played it with the 7 notes there instead of full 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. Okay. So anyway, that's a minor shape, and we can take that and we can move it anywhere on the fretboard that we want, as long as we're kind of remembering those key spots, right? So whatever note I start on, so we're on the 5th fret now, right? So if I wanted to do G minor, right, I'd have to do 5, 3, because it's that whole step apart, right? And then we're going to go 2 whole steps up to 7, and then it's the same note, or the same fret, just the next string up. This would be the pattern. Pretty easy. Okay. So anyway, from there, what we can do is we can start taking that minor shape and we can start incorporating the major shape. It's the exact same thing with a small difference in that instead of doing like 7 to 5, it's only a half step difference. So it's 7 to 6 on that next string up, right? Right, yeah. But apart from me screwing up, that's the gist of it. Okay, so pretty happy. But anyway, so just changing that third can make a pretty big difference, right? And you can do this with any sort of music, but in tapping especially, that's where you're really gonna hear the distinction between the two, because otherwise you may as well just be like tapping power chords in octaves, right? Which would just be kind of like, which doesn't sound bad, but there's no defining characteristic to it. It's just kind of bland. It's just like, yes, this is just A. But the minute that we add a little bit of character in there and we throw that minor third in there or that major third, right? So if we did the minor, right, kind of sad, and then the major, pretty happy. Anyway, so doing the tapping stuff, we can incorporate that minor shape. Right? Now let's do the major shape, and we're just going to go from the A down to the G. So on the 5th fret, right? So in all, we're going to be taking the left hand, we're going to hammer on to the 7th fret of our lowest string. Not lowest string, but the D string here. Then we're going to hammer on to the 5th fret of the G string. Then using our right hand, we're going to hammer on from nowhere to the 9th fret on that G string. And then on the C string, we're going to take our middle finger, hammer on to the 9th fret, and then just play it all backwards. Right? Now the major shape, we're just going to start that whole idea over again. We're just going to slide down to the 5th fret, hammer onto the 5th fret of the D string. Then we're going to hammer onto the 4th fret of the G string. Then with the right hand, we're going to go to the 7th fret, and then the middle finger, 7th fret on the C string, and then repeat. Right? So we should have something like this. Okay, so if we want to play that a little bit slower, I'll run a couple bars so you can kind of practice. We don't want to ever practice this going super quick, right? Just, you can just get sloppy real quick, right? So practicing slow, it's going to help you develop your rhythm, help you develop the phrasing, right? And the cleanliness of each note that you're hitting. With bass, especially doing any sort of like those tapping things, you're going to get a lot of extra string noise because these things are pretty floppy, right? They tend to pick up vibrations pretty easily, and the pickups are pretty sensitive to that, regardless of the style of music that we play, right? I play mostly metal, so that stuff is, loud and aggressive as it is. So when we do stuff like this, that's a little bit more controlled. You really have to control all the extra vibration and everything like that. So as we're doing these hammer-ons and stuff, kind of practice muting with that right arm, kind of bringing it down here, and muting the strings that you're not using. So like I said, on the 6th string here, we've got that super low A on this guy. So I don't want that ringing out, even though I'm doing an A chord. It's just going to sound like it just kind of overpowers everything, right? So I kind of mute that by resting my right hand on top of the string, and it's just resting there, right? So like it's just muting the string, right? So anyway, practice that, and with the left hand here, I'm really focusing on just using my fingertips, okay? Because what that's going to allow me to do is if I'm just doing my fingertips, then like on my index finger here, try to turn it so you can see in the camera, as I fret the string, then the rest of my finger here can just kind of rest against the strings and mute those, all the strings above the notes that I'm hitting, right? So nothing down here is ringing out because the right hand is muting it, and nothing up here is ringing out because the left hand is muting it, okay? So, right? I'm kind of resting my index finger across there. So let's run through this real slow real quick. Ready? Set. 1, 2, 3, 4. So not bad at all. Using this, what we can do is incorporate that all across the fretboard, but for starting out, this is a great place to be. So I'll put some tabs up at the very end here. Hope you guys liked it. Thanks, and like and subscribe for more.